For 2000 år siden var Jesusbarnet flyktning i Egypt. I dag så skal jeg møte Egypts ambassadør i Norge, Amr Ramadan, til samtale her i ambassaden. Dette blir gøy. Well, what a privilege for me, Your Excellency Amr Ramadan, Ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Norway, that I'm here with you.
We are very happy to have you with us today, and I think the privilege and honor also goes for me.
Wonderful.
To be on your show today.
Thank you so much, sir. You know, I've always been fascinated by Egypt, especially since I passed through the Suez Canal as a 4-year-old in 1961. What a vast historic nation you're from.
Egypt is located in a very geographical important place, crossroads between three main continents, civilizations, and activities also are going around that part of the region. And unfortunately, lately also some disturbances and wars in the region. So I think that has provided us and those visiting us like you to see a place that is not common, that is not like other places you visit, because of the history, because of the monuments, because of the historical nature of many parts of Egypt, also touristic destinations. So you have Pharaonic Egypt, you have Coptic Egypt, you have Islamic Egypt, you have new destinations that even us as Egyptians are establishing, renovating, and also discoveries in, for example, in the Red Sea, on the eastern shore, there are new cities, new resorts coming up every now and then. So there are always new places, new things to see in Egypt.
You know, sir, when I've been talking with you, you remind me like one of those dads that I, from time to time, I have coffee with in Istanbul or in Beirut or you know, in maybe more the more unknown parts for modern day Norway than most other regions of the world, and I thoroughly enjoy being together as dads and friends, and you give me that feeling, sir.
I'm very happy that that's a feeling you get with our discussions. I am honestly a very straightforward person, open in discussing things with friends and other people, reaching out to different communities. So I think it's only normal that in trying to reach out to people that they would also feel that you are trying to reach out to them, and they will reciprocate that with a gesture of friendship and openness.
Sir, you've been in Norway since
December 19.
2019,
Yeah.
and you brought your wife, and now you have 3 kids here.
Yes.
And tell me, what children do you have?
I have 3 children. One is 20 years old. He's studying in Switzerland. Second, I have a boy who's 17. He's with me now. And a little girl, she's 10. And I came in December, as you mentioned, and it was still school year for them in Egypt, so they continued in Egypt. Then came the corona outbreak, and the schools went on Zoom, online schools, classes, and they were able to visit me more often, and actually managed to move and reside with me here even before the school year ends. So we are now together here, and we are looking for the coming school year. We are not quite sure how things would be in September and October, because we hear that from WHO that there might be a second wave, a stronger one coming. Let's hope for the good of the whole community, the whole world, to be a safer place and to pass this coronavirus outbreak.
Exactly. You know, when I've been reading about you through the years, seen your name many times from United Nations and Geneva and important places. Of course, that's very important to talk about, and we will. But what even more is interesting for me is that you believe in your family and in family.
Family is the basic unit of the society, and as such, it requires support of all of us. It is a natural nucleus of the society, and if it is strong, the society would be strong. If the family is weak, the society would be weak. You can try to apply that to any aspect you would like to consider, either education, either culture, either behavior. If you don't learn this in the society, in the family, you will not be able to transfer that to the society. So if you are taught by your parents about certain things, about certain values, then you would expect that you will carry those values with you to your workplace, to schools, to your interaction with other people. But if you have difficulties when you are young, some people try to avoid that when they are grown up, and some actually it leaves some grievances or some complications with them, so they are not acting in normal ways afterwards. So I think the family is very important in different fields, not just for the sake of the society as such, but for the sake of the individual himself.
Yeah.
Have a stable life, have a friendly life, community, not feeling alone, not feeling left alone, also at different ages and so on.
Would you say that the Western anti-family movements or tendencies, are they also trying to impact Egyptian life?
Not really, because in most of Europe, if there is some uneasiness about having a family or thinking that you can compensate that, it is not actually manifested in separation or an individual habit.
Yeah.
Still, you have people gathered together, either by a man and a woman coming together without the family union, or adopting children which do not come from your blood. So there is still the reach out and having a gathering there, but in a different form. So I don't see that those in Europe who are not happy with the family are calling for people to live isolated or individually. They are trying to compensate that by other measures.
That's a good point.
That ends up to the same, that you are having a group of people, family house, living together, people, what you call household, people living together. So it's better having it through the natural way, which is the family, with the blood connection, I think is stronger and more sustainable in the future.
But I mean, I've noticed even in documents you made in the United Nations settings that even there you are very clear on family values.
Of course, I mean, as I mentioned, it is recognized worldwide that the family is a basic unit of the society. And the society is where we live. The communities is where we live, where we grow up. And I think we all hope and try and strive to have better societies for our own benefit. And for that reason, the family is very important. And I come from a culture that the families are important. Eastern cultures in general believe very much in the family, and also respect in the family, respect to relatives, respect to elderly, respect to certain individuals in the family is very high than maybe other places where there is more relaxation about the significance of some individuals around you.
Yes, exactly. Sir, you come from Aleksandria, a city that is very important for Christianity, with the Greek, the Greek Septuagint, which is the translation of the Bible, was actually composed in Alexandria. And so tell me about what makes you proud about Alexandria?
Alexandria is a very ancient city from its name, Alexander, and it has a lot of historical and monumental places. I was born there, I lived there, I studied there. It was up to my work life that I had to move to Cairo when I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs back in 1987. It used to be a very quiet city as well, before it's now quite crowded with the increase in population. It was the second largest city in Egypt after the capital, Cairo. It was responsible for like 40% of its trade through the harbor, Alexandria Harbor. Things have changed now with a lot of exports going through different methods, airplanes like vegetables and fruits, for example. Also other harbors that were established in Egypt, Damietta on the eastern side of the Mediterranean, Suez and other places. So maybe the economic value of Alexandria has a little bit decreased, but the political and the historical value of Egypt still there. For example, we host Biblioteca Alexandria, as you know. It was rebuilt in 2002 with the support of Norway and other friends. S01E22 is a company that actually architect of the building, which later, 6 years later, was involved in building the opera house here. In Oslo.
Exactly.
And you can see some similarities. When I first came in December and moving around the city, I felt something that you feel there is something between that building and the other buildings.
So Oslo and Alexandria.
Exactly. They might think of having a sister agreement between Oslo and Alexandria.
Well, let's make it happen.
We'll see what is in there and try to build on that. So I think Alexandria is also, it's a city on the Mediterranean.
Yes.
So the temperature and the weather there is different than other.
Must be beautiful.
It's beautiful. It can be very humid in summer, but it's still, I like it. It's my city.
Your wife is also from there.
My wife is from Alexandria as well, and we both like the sea. We like the Mediterranean, and we go every year in order to enjoy the nicety of the shores and beaches in Egypt. It's really nice. I invite you to come to the north coast.
Well, my wife and I will be there.
Anytime. Just let me know.
Thank you, sir, so much. Now, from Alexandria, what made you want to be a diplomat? And let me say, as a preamble to that in my observation, Egypt has raised some pretty significant world leaders. We have the United Nations Secretary General Boutros Ghali, who was from Egypt, and many others. And why would you want to go in that line of representing in diplomacy your nation?
That's an interesting question. I don't think I have an answer to it. But let's say that back in 1986, it came to my mind whether I want to go into private career or into government career. And at that time, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, diplomacy, seemed to be appealing to me, that I would like to represent my country. I would like to be lawyer for my country, because actually I wanted to study law at a certain point, which I didn't. I studied accounting. So I decided to join the Foreign Office. It was a competition or a concours, exam you have to sit for. It was a long process, and I managed to do so. Then I joined the Foreign Office. I actually liked working in the Foreign Office. Though sometimes I feel that there is too much side effects of it, like leaving your country, like leaving your friends, family members, and other negative points of that life of diplomacy, that you are moving too much also from one place to another. You start having friends, knowing the place, get accustomed to, then you leave, depart for another place. But in general, I think it was okay for me. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. The only thing is that life passes so quickly because you travel too much, so you don't feel time as an ordinary person.
Where have you served in the world?
I have served to the our mission, Egyptian mission to the United Nations in New York. That was my first posting, 1990 to 94. Then I served in Geneva, also to the United Nations, as a counselor. And I served in Washington, D.C. as a deputy chief of mission. Then I returned back to Geneva as ambassador, and I served in Portugal as ambassador, and now in Norway as an ambassador, and also to Iceland. I'm a non-resident ambassador to Iceland.
Exactly. Well, you know, the role of a diplomat is so significant, and Norway and Egypt have a pretty close relationship, actually.
There is an understanding between Egypt and Norway on many issues. Either these issues are bilateral issues, regional issues, or even subjects or matters that are under the international agenda. Egypt and Norway has a good relation, that's true. And I think there is room to do more. We need more engagement between Egypt and Norway.
What kind? Tell me.
We need to have more visits between officials from different levels, between here and there. We need to have more communication apart from the embassy, but I mean direct communication between officials here and there, because we have foundation of good relations that we can build on. Okay, but sometimes people feel that since we have good relations, then there is nothing more we can do. I think differently. I think there is more we can do. Economically, we can do more as well. The trade balance between Egypt and Norway is more or less $350 million, which is nothing compared to the size and economy of both countries. Most of it is Norwegian exports to Egypt. We can do more to have Egyptian exports to Norway. We are trying to do that at the embassy level now, but Corona thing is not helping us these days. We need to find a place for Egyptian exports in Norway. We need to have Norwegian partners to do so as well, to help in that exchange, whether it's fruits, vegetables, ceramics, or what have you. We have a lot of products, leather products, for example. Egypt has developed a lot through the last 10 years, and there is many we can do in terms of finding markets for these products. We still we need to achieve some balance in the trade arrangement between us and Norway.
Well, there are business people who listen to watch these interviews, you know.
And you know there is agreement between Egypt and Norway through the EFTA arrangement between Egypt and EFTA countries. So there is more or less
EFTA would be Norway, Iceland, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Sir, what about cultural exchange? That is something I seem to miss between Egypt and Norway.
That's something we need to do as well, especially through, for example, the Opera House here.
Yeah.
See how can we get Egyptian different parts of the art to be here. But again, these days it's not the right time to do so, because traveling has been hampered a lot, and still, unfortunately, people can't move easily because of the corona restrictions. We'll try to do so as things ease up, hopefully next year, early next year. But in my previous postings, I have managed to bring some Egyptian players and musicians and so on, as culture and other areas. And to have exchange and to see how this can even bring societies closer. We can arrange for having lectures on different topics that can also show our Norwegian friends, and we listen to them as well, that we are not that different. So we probably in geography, you are a little bit to the north, we are more to the south, but I think we can do more.
You know what my passion, sir, is even when making these TV conversations is to get to know each other and to respect and trust each other. So I appreciate what you're saying, because we need this between our nations, and the world needs that.
We need to avoid stereotyping or stigmatization. We need to avoid having a preset mind on one another, or to be afraid of one another.
Exactly.
We are brothers in humanity. We share a lot of values, though maybe the application of those values might differ from one society to another, but the trust of the norm is there, and we don't have difference on that.
Exactly.
And I think that can be explored and help us to understand one another more and see the things that we have in common and try to work on these issues. And there are things that we don't have in common. Let them be there. I mean, we're not trying to have a united society, but we are trying to have a cooperative arrangement.
And even the question of faith. I know you are a very, very faithful Muslim, and obviously I'm a faithful Christian, and probably we won't agree on Christ or the Trinity or the role of the prophet, but still we can respect each other. And that is a beautiful thing. And I want to ask you, sir, Egypt has such a... Now, something funny happened when I asked you about the Coptic population in Egypt, because I said to you, the Coptic minority, and you corrected me, you scolded me. No, tell me, why is it wrong to say the minority?
Egyptians, before the Islamic conquer, was a Coptic society.
Yeah.
And after Islam, some chose to turn to Islam, some chose not to turn to Islam. And we continue to be the same people, same race, same language, same everything. Okay,
Yeah.
so religion in Egypt is not a religion that would divide people coming from north and south, or people from black and white, or from any other source of division. So you cannot distinguish between a Muslim and a Coptic Egyptian. You cannot, because they are the same. The only thing is that you have your faith, and that's something between the individual and God.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with his citizenship.
Exactly.
It is not a minority. Also, the number of Christians, Coptic Egyptians, is a huge amount of
10%, right?
10 or maybe 12 or whatever. If you see that Egypt now is 100 million people, so you are talking about a community which is double the population of Switzerland or of Norway.
Exactly.
And for that you cannot call them minority, because they are not treated as minority. They are major component of the society, and they consider themselves to be major component of the society. And Pope Shenouda used to say that we are not a minority, and he was very offended when he was asked questions about Coptic minority in Egypt. He said, no, we are not a minority. And
that was the Coptic Pope.
The Coptic Pope, the head of the church in Egypt. So for that reason, they are not considered to be a minority, and it would be wrong to try to perceive them in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in every nation, there will be questions about how groups are treated. And of course, there have been objections against some Christian situation in Egypt. But I've read reports from at least the last 6 years after President al-Sisi took office that shows that there's great freedom and respect for Christian faith in Egypt. Is that something, would that be a correct perception?
It is a correct perception. Even President Sisi himself, I think, attended the anniversary or the commemoration of the Coptic year in 2015 or 14, if I'm not mistaken. And he was the first Egyptian president to do so. And he went to the church during
historic.
He went to the church during the anniversary, and he joined them for a while and left.
Wow!
And that, I think, was a very good move from his side, and it was well received within the population, not just the Coptic population, but the Muslim population as well. Is that we share our good time and we share our hard time as well.
Exactly.
And it is now, as you know, a national day. It's a vacation in Egypt. same as we do for other religious vacations or day offs. You can see fellow Coptic Egyptians in business community, in government, at universities, in different parts of the society, playing a major role like any other Egyptian. So I think we shouldn't focus very much on the religion of one person. We should focus on his citizenship and what he's doing to the society, how is he helping his smaller community and then the larger community, and not focus very much on religion. The Middle East in general, not just Egypt, needs to have something that I have a name for it, but that name doesn't have foundation in English language.
Tell me it in Arabic.
I'll try to use it in English. It's de-religionalization, not regionalization. Religionalization, de-religionalization. We need to have little religion to play in our societies. Not to be non-religious. No,
Sure.
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that our religion plays a major role in the Middle East because it's a cradle of civilization, cradle of the three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So people in that part of the region, whether in Egypt, in Lebanon, in Saudi Arabia, or elsewhere, the religion is important. That's different than in the West. Religion is important everywhere, but maybe with different importance. So there is enough religion that gloom on the society in our part that we don't need to add to it. So trying to perceive the Middle East in general through religious groups. You are Muslim, no, you are Sunni, no, you are Shia, no, you are Coptic, you are Christian, you are Orthodox, you are so. That, I think, is a division that is not needed, and it won't lead to anything good. And it's not applicable. It's not something that we want to hide. It is there, but it is not affecting our daily life. So why should we try to focus very much on it to the extent that it will affect our daily life?
Exactly.
Let's leave it there. Let's see what brings us together, and leave what doesn't bring us together.
Exactly. So this is music in my ears, and it seems like the norms and values you're speaking for here, which have been really received well in the Coptic Church. They are very supportive of Sisi as president and the direction of the nation. I have that from pretty high sources. I think that's a beautiful testament, actually, to this. Sir, with your wealth of experience, and I know you have strong opinions about many things, which I would dearly love to talk to you about in front of hundreds of thousands of people. But for now, I think this has been a tremendous way of showing the respect that you show and that how trustworthy you are. And I really appreciate for you receiving me and my crew here for on my show, Hovedstaden and TV Vision Norway. I pray and say that may the Lord bless you and your nation and your household, your wife and your kids.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next Egyptian coffee you'll give me.
Inshallah. In Egypt or Aleksandria?
Both.
Thank you very much for receiving me in your show and for honoring the Egyptian mission today by your presence and your colleagues. And I hope that our conversation today would help to have a better understanding between Egyptian society and Norwegian society. And our doors are open at any time to engage more with you in different matters.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.